Rip, do you think you can outrun a bear?
No, not a chance.
Okay, we're diving into another bargain bin movie. Without a Paddle is next.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf! We want it now!
Ask me about my wiener!
Would you like to have the suckle of my zipper? Like perfect 10?
Cool beans. Cool beans.
And you never once paid for drugs. Yeah, Jamie. We want a shrubbery!
Slippy, slappy, Swanson?
I'm a peacock! You gotta let me fly! Shut up!
But first, Rip, how are you? What's new? And what are you watching?
I'm good, chaps. I actually watched a newer comedy, Old Dads, 2023.
Haven't heard of that.
It's Bill Burr's movie.
Okay.
We did not consider this for that new. Apologies.
Yeah, it didn't make the ballot.
Did not make the ballot. Yeah, for context, it's Bill Burr's movie. He wrote, directed, and stars in it. It has Bobby Cannavale.
Okay, yeah.
And then Bokeem Woodbine.
Yep.
It'd be really easy for me to shit all over this movie. But if you know me by now, like, I have a hard time like trashing movies. I mean, I am a nobody at the end of the day with mediocre taste, and I can recognize how hard it is to get a movie made, let alone have people enjoy it.
Especially people like you.
Am I wrong?
No, I know you're totally
it's
right.
just like,
yeah.
at the end of the day, it's all subjective, right?
Yeah, it is, but sometimes it is fun to rip on stuff.
Sure. I mean, that said, this movie really tested me.
Like tested your patience.
Yeah. Like personally, my opinion.
Yes.
It gave me big, like, back in my day, old man yells at cloud vibes.
I get that from just Bill Burr in general.
I don't normally...
That's just shtick.
I don't normally mind him.
Yeah.
And again, I do think yelling is funny, so, like, maybe that's why. I think I'll just leave it at that. Like, I'm clearly not the target audience for this. But, you know, like, when it's 11 p.m. and your partner's, like, half asleep on you and... I don't know. I look for this kind of crap on Netflix, you know? Like,
what could I throw on without disturbing them?
Pretty much, but then also what can I put on that she won't get mad at me for watching without her?
Right, yeah.
And not for a second did she want to watch like three, boomers yell at a bunch of millennials for going to Starbucks.
Hey, yeah, fair enough.
What else am I watching? Survivor just wrapped up.
Nice. Yeah, I've been out on this season. I haven't really been watching it.
I mean, honestly, this was a good one to take off. Like, started off strong in my opinion, and then it just kind of...
I feel like that's the best way to start Survivors. Like, you go one season on, one season off. It's just not the same since they went to this shorter format. I don't like it.
No, fair enough. What I do want to talk about, though, is what comes on after Survivor.
I don't know what comes on after Survivor.
So, on Global...
Right.
This game show called The Floor comes on.
Okay.
It's hosted by Rob Lowe.
Okay. The Floor. Is it like the floor is made of lava?
Okay, no, that would be...
That sounds like a sick game.
Isn't that like that's like a show already on Netflix?
That might have been a show.
Yeah. Okay, let me set the table for you here. When I first saw the new Jeopardy on Disney Plus, which is Jeopardy Pop Culture, I was disappointed.
You were like, oh, sick, I can finally answer questions.
See, the idea that we've given up on trying to be smart enough to go on regular Jeopardy and decided instead to just like, no, let's just make the show dumber.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it though sometimes.
But then I saw this show and I realized, oh, we've like really given up as a society.
I can't imagine what the show is.
Okay, basically you have like 50 people, okay? Each one starts off with a tile that represents their category. So for example, yours would be like Star Wars, mine would be like hockey.
Right.
When it's your turn, you challenge people connected to your tile. So think like Risk.
Okay, so like...
And if you win, you gain their tile, and then you adopt their category.
That's kind of a fun premise.
So if I beat you, you're out, I get your tile.
Yeah,
now my category is Star Wars. Simple enough, right?
Do you still use your old category?
No.
Or you just take the new category?
You take the new category.
Gotcha.
So you got to be like strategic, I guess, in who you challenge to, right?
Right, yeah. Like, I don't know shit about fuck.
The concept doesn't seem that bad, right?
Right.
The embarrassing part is how these duels, they call them, go down, okay?
I love this.
It's the most basic shit ever. Essentially, we're each given 45 seconds. The timer ticks down when it's your turn, like during the duel.
Right.
And it keeps ticking down until you call out what Star Wars picture is displayed.
Okay.
So, for example, a picture of Han Solo pops up. You got to be like, Han Solo.
Right.
Then it's your turn, or my turn. Yoda pops up. I got to yell Yoda, right?
Okay, yeah.
Not bad. It sounds fun until you go through the categories for these 50 people, because it's not things like Star Wars or hockey. It's things like
Knitting.
like, honestly, it's like that, or like household items. And then I'm yelling broom and you're yelling mop.
Cellophane.
Yeah, like it's fucking ridiculous.
God.
Like, imagine going on and they're like, pick your category. And you're like, well, like, I know a lot of household items.
Yeah. I read a lot of labels at home.
Spices in your spice rack. Oh, cinnamon?
Yeah. This,
Cumin? Is that fucking
at first,
cumin?
like the premise sounds awesome. Like sounds like a really fun like game show premise. But yeah, like in practice, the producers are probably like, yeah, everyone's gonna come in and like have these neat little topics, and yeah, they're getting shit like household items and types of throw pillows.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. I guess it makes sense from a producer standpoint, because you can't have all these niche categories, because then nobody's gonna
Right, some
take that
guys
tile.
just
Like,
like
someone's just gonna lose, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to be things like fucking plants, or like cats, orange cat, you know, calico.
You should just be able to pick whatever fucking topic you want. Like if you're an expert in bugs, yeah, you should be able to run away with the finals of that. Like that's on other people for being stupid.
Bugs is basic enough to make the cut. I think. I think I've seen something like bugs.
Right. I meant more so like what's the scientific term for bug study? Epidemiology or something? I don't know. I'm not even gonna try. That sounds fun though. Did you enjoy it at least? Like was it like so stupid it was funny?
Well, again, let me preface this with I was also high, so
Okay.
I was sitting there yelling, "Broom! That's a broom!"
Your partner's just like, shut the fuck up.
No, she's
Trying
like,
to
"No,
sleep."
idiot, it's a mop."
That's good. That's
Okay,
good stuff.
top that. What are you watching?
I don't know if I can top that. You mentioned that the show, it's a bit about duels. So that kind of plays into something I have been rewatching recently. I've been on a Yu-Gi-Oh kick for some reason. Ask me why. I have no idea.
Why?
I couldn't tell you. Like I just one day put on Crunchyroll, put on Yu-Gi-Oh, and I'm like, hey, this show was great. It's so simple. I don't need to pay attention.
Where did you start?
Like the very beginning.
Oh, the very
Literally
beginning,
the very
eh?
beginning. We're on the Duelist Island right now, and Yugi's going up against fake Kaiba.
This is fake Kaiba. This is a stupid question, but is Yu-Gi-Oh anime? Like, does that
I think
count
so.
as
Yeah,
anime?
like,
I don't know what the threshold is.
I'm
Is
not
it
sure
just-
if there's. I think usually like anime in my like what I understand of it, it's like things that were like manga and then became like a cartoon or whatever, like that kind of thing. I think that's. But I guess anime could just be all stuff too. I don't know. I'm not an expert on it.
Okay,
on the
you had me
subject.
going. I was convinced, and then you just threw
That's
it
what
out.
I thought, though. I that's what I would think is like it's based on like a manga that exists, and I don't know if Yu-Gi-Oh is based on a manga. I think it might be. I have no idea. But the fun part about Yu-Gi-Oh is like because we played Yu-Gi-Oh growing up.
Yeah.
When you rewatch the show, none of it makes any fucking sense.
Oh no.
Like the rules of the show are so drastically different from the rules of the actual game. Like they're just like throwing down cards in the middle of someone else's turn and just doing like crazy shit, and it's like, what's going on here? This is like a no rules like duel.
What I really love about that is, as a kid, you're sitting there and you're not like, "What the fuck?" You're like, "Oh yeah, obviously that makes sense."
obviously,
Oh, fucking
obviously
tap
Dark
hole,
Magician
obviously.
can do that in the middle of a battle. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it makes sense. Yeah, true. But yeah, no, it's been fun and nostalgic. What else I've been watching though? My partner and I got out and saw Thunderbolts in theaters.
Right on.
Yeah, it was okay. Like it's got some good buzz around it right now. Like I don't completely agree with all the hype. Like I think it was a good start to getting us back on track to good Marvel movies. Yeah, you got to start somewhere. I think it was good. The cast is fun. Everyone did their thing, and it worked. I think the stories are just kind of getting harder and harder to care about because there's like, I don't know. This one has like an interesting exploration of mental health and whatnot, but the whole like this whole new Avengers of it all like is just such thickly layered on top that like it overshadows everything because it always has to be connected to the wider thing. So it kind of just bogs down story.
I am so lost when it comes to the MCU right now. I don't. There's a new Captain America, right? So we're
Yeah.
doing like a new Avengers, right?
Yeah.
But
so
then,
so
but then
there's
we're
a
also
new
doing Thunderbolts.
Avengers. So the Thunderbolts at the end of the movie are revealed to be the spoilers, the new Avengers, and apparently the new Captain America, Sam Wilson, has issues with that.
So now we have two separate sets of Avengers.
I think that's what they're kind of setting up. That there's
Or is it like a what is it? Civil War where they like meet at like the airport like parking lot and they like
well,
beat
they already
each
did
other.
that.
Is
They
that
can't,
what that
they can't do that
they're
again.
doing
They
this?
already did that again. No, I think it's all setting it up for like Secret Wars and whatnot. It's honestly like the universe isn't super hard to like figure out right now. It's just like there were so many movies between Endgame and like Thunderbolts that like don't matter. that they conflict with everything, and it's just like just forget all those, and like we'll start here again.
I would almost prefer that though. Like I'm so tired of everything having to tie into everything. Like just give me like a one-off. Like what's so hard about that?
You start at the MCU. That's what's hard about that. You can't go back.
We talked about this earlier, I think, when you were bringing up Daredevil.
Yeah.
How, correct me if I'm wrong, you were like a little let down with the finale because it was kind of like setting the scene for the next season.
It was,
like, fuck guys, like wrap up what you're doing before you get going on the next project. Like what's so hard about that?
I totally agree. Yeah, these ones, you know, they are what they are. They're setting up for Doomsday. They're setting up for RDJ's return and all that stuff. So we'll see where it goes from here. It's one of those things where I just keep coming back to it every time.
You're hooked, eh?
Yeah, I don't know. Just Marvel. Like I had such great fond memories of it during the first 10 years of it all.
No, I
get
that.
I'm just sucked in. I'm a corporate shill for this stuff.
I mean, I was sucked in. Like I enjoyed everything up until Endgame, and then we were even talking about this on the walk over. Like I tried to do the second Doctor Strange.
Yeah, there's only been 2. Second Doctor
Strange. I don't care.
Completely
Eternals.
fair,
I got about 10 minutes into Eternals, and same thing. I was so bored. I just
not coming back. Who even knows what they are?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just, So I think they just need to get back to like a streamlined thing. The multiverse is like maybe it doesn't work.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong again here, because I could very well be wrong. I don't know the MCU as much as you do. Was the first Iron Man was the plan to make the Avengers?
Yeah, Avengers was always the plan.
It just like, oh shit, like this was successful. You know what would be cool if we made more of these and then worked our way to the Avengers? Like, did we go into Iron Man with the idea of doing the Avengers?
I think the idea of the Avengers was always on the table with Iron Man. I'm pretty sure there's even an end credit scene in Iron Man that sort of sets that stage. I think it's like it might be Director Fury or whatever. Like, I can't remember that end credit scene from Iron Man, but I think it was always the idea, but it was hinging on the success of the movie, right? If the movie doesn't succeed, I don't think they go forward with it, but the movie did succeed, so they did.
Fair enough.
And I mean, they spawned a brilliant 10-year ecosystem of movies that all work together. And I've recently rewatched like Infinity War and Endgame, and I truly think those movies got snubbed at like Oscars for being superhero movies. Like when you watch Infinity War, it's a movie about loss, about big tragedy, and like it's quite tragic at the end. And then Endgame is all about finishing off this 10-year run of like amazing like interwoven storytelling. It's just like the fact that they were even able to pull it off and like do it, and like everyone across the board kind of enjoys Endgame. Like no one was mad about Endgame. Where then like a same year you have fucking Rise of Skywalker comes out and there's an absolute clusterfuck of shit. I don't know. I think they deserve more praise, I think.
Infinity War was incredible. Like I loved that movie. Again, not a big MCU guy, but like I would still go back and I would watch that, and I know I'd have a blast.
It's so fucking sad when Scarlet Witch has to rip the stone out of Vision's head and kill him, and then Thanos is just like, it's all for nothing. I can rewind time and do it myself. It's like, it's so tragic because he has to watch him die twice.
Yeah.
Like when you think about stuff like that, it's like, damn, they were fucking firing. They were cooking there, man. Yeah. But all that aside, I think it's time to take a break. And when we get back, we're diving into Without a Paddle.
Jerry can't commit.
I won't play the role of nagging girlfriend anymore.
Nagging wife make you happier?
Oh, dear God.
Dan's a little timid.
I'm afraid of cellophane.
Like saran wrap?
Afraid that somehow it'll get draped over my head and...
That's very pathetic.
It's very sticky.
And Tom's not afraid of anything.
Is this Billy's funeral? Is that the corpse of Billy Newwood?
Tom!
Where'd you guys park?
But for 3 childhood friends...
Let's take the trip. I have responsibilities.
The answers to their problems...
I hate you guys.
...are out there.
Hey, look, a deer.
From Paramount Pictures.
Just passing through?
We're just taking a trip.
You make a couple mistakes up there, you gone.
Tom, you're a Boy Scout?
No, but I had a brownie once.
Friendship is a journey.
I'm in over my head!
Don't tell me that!
That's it, this is over! I agree. Let's just swim up that waterfall, back over 20 miles of river, and wait for a rescue boat. Hey, up here!
And life is a trip.
All right, we'll climb the tree and maybe we'll see a way out of here. Tom, do you see anything?
And we're back. We're going to dive into Without a Paddle, but first let's cover the George format of things. We're going to set up the movie, talk about the cast, go through it, have a bit of discussion about the opening 20 minutes, and then get into the fun and games of it all, wrap it up. And in the end, we'll cover some funniest scenes, our MVC, and head-to-head. Today, we also have a new segment to premiere called Reruns, but we'll get to that later. Okay, this movie comes out in 2004 with a budget of $19 million, makes $73 million worldwide. 77% of Google users like it, while 15% of the critics on RT hate it. So that's pretty funny. It's got a 2.7 average star rating on Letterboxd. It's a bit of an all over the board kind of thing. Depends on the, I guess, the audience you're questioning about whether they like it or not. It has a runtime of 1:39. Director is Stephen Brill. The writers, I was getting a bit of confusion on who actually did what for this movie, because there was like 6 different credits. There was 3 story bys and then 3 writers on the screenplay. So I'll just list them all. Story by Harris Goldberg, Tom Nursall, Fred Wolf, and then screenplay by Stephen Brill, Jay Leggett, and Mitch Rouse. And then I went on IMDb and saw different names. So I'm not even sure. Like, I don't know. Maybe the people who made this movie are lost to time because it's fucking 2025 now. Okay, before we dive into the movie, let's stop and talk about the cast quickly. Our main trio is Matthew Lillard, Dax Shephard, and Seth Green. They play 3 childhood friends, Jerry, Tom, and Dan. Kind of keeping with this similar theme from last week where we have another 3 Friends movie. And I was just curious, out of the main 3, who was your favorite? You know, who did you like the least? And how much do you miss Seth Green?
I miss Seth Green a ton.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great in this. Interestingly enough, I'm a big Matthew Lillard fan.
Me too. I like him.
I'm like so sad that he just didn't take off the way I thought he would, you know?
He's got a certain charm to him.
He does. He'll always be Shaggy, like Shaggy Doo to me.
100%.
But I mean, the guy's just a treasure. And I don't know if you know this, but like he's like a big like fantasy guy. Like he's really into Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, I love that. I love when people are into that. I love that's great.
I think he's like shown up on a few like Critical Role like matches.
That's cool.
He also, this is so funny. I don't even know how I stumbled upon this. I mean, I know now because I went back and double checked, but he has his own like fantasy themed brand of whiskey called
cool.
like Quest's End.
That's pretty neat.
I feel like he's somebody who recognized his lane in Hollywood, decided to run with it, and then used all the money that he made to just like have fun instead of like, I don't know, try and market himself as something he's not.
Yeah.
And I respect that so much.
Me too. Yeah. It's interesting because I was looking into his IMDb, and of course we mentioned Scooby-Doo. He's in the Scream franchise for a lot, and he's coming back. He's coming back to the newest Scream, which is, it's going to be cool to see him on screen again. And apparently he's also in Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a movie based on a horror video game, which I haven't seen, but you know, it's cool to see that he's still doing some stuff. But I did not know that about his fantasy whiskey.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I don't know. He just seems like a cool guy. Like
he seems like the kind of guy you want to have a chat with. You know?
Right. Yeah. I bet his taste in music is like probably really cool. I think he was in SLC Punk, right? I mean,
right. Yeah.
I don't know. Dax Shephard, how do you feel about him? Are you a Dax guy?
So like not today, you know, like I think back in the day when this movie came out, like I think Dax Shephard was fun. Like this movie comes out when we're in middle school, right? So like he's got that sort of like, oh, he's like edgy kind of guy. And he says bad words that I'm not supposed to say kind of thing. So
he's the bad boy.
Yeah, exactly. So like you kind of like, you think about that. And then like, I don't know, I remember movies like Employee of the Month and like he's opposite Dane Cook and
Idiocracy.
Idiocracy. And like he's good in those, but like, I don't know, he has his podcast Armchair Expert now, and like I don't listen to it often, but I don't know, he's just, I don't know, he doesn't seem the same anymore.
That's his thing now, right? Is he's the podcast guy now, right?
Yeah, he's a podcast guy.
Yeah. I'm not like the biggest Dax fan. Like I mean, I appreciate his podcast. Like I'll listen to it once in a while, depending on the guest. He does get, what I like is he doesn't get like, you know, just the mainstream guests who are obviously doing their like campaign. Like, like, oh, you know, Severance came out, so Adam Scott's going to be on fucking Smart List. He's going to be on, you know, Armchair Expert. He's going to be on Mark Maron.
He's coming to the TFME soon.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I did like him in this though.
Yeah, he plays a good, how'd you call it, bad boy.
Yeah. What I felt with this movie in particular is that all 3 are kind of equal, and that there's no like real star carrying it, because I feel like at the time maybe all 3 of them are kind of on like even ground.
Yeah, I guess because 2004, so Seth's like 4 years into Family Guy. He's been in Austin Powers. He might be the biggest one.
I mean, he's the biggest one, but like he's not carrying the movie in that like it's centered around him, right? Because it does feel like the movie really is about the three of them.
Right, yeah. It's about the friendship. As you find out.
Before we move on, this dynamic kind of reminds me of basketball. Did you get this at all?
I can see what you're saying.
Like
I haven't
Seth
seen
Green
basketball in so long. He squeaks.
The squeak.
Yeah, like I mean, this movie is set up around like there's a lot of just Dan's the butt end of basically every joke,
yeah.
which is like it's mean, right? It's of its era where there's lots of bullying going on.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I want to round out the cast, and we kind of talked about this on our walk over as well, that we didn't realize Burt Reynolds is in this.
That was a wild revelation for me.
He plays Dell, who is the right-hand man of D.B. Cooper, which is a great plot device. Ethan Suplee plays Elwood. He's the guy from Remember the Titans, Mallrats, Clerks. Have you seen him lately?
Oh, I thought he died. Did he?
No, dude, he's jacked as fuck.
I always get him mixed up with the guy from Blow.
Oh.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think I know who you're talking about.
I think he actually died.
Yeah, Ethan Suplee, if you look him up, like, dude, he lost a shit ton of weight and is ripped.
Oh, that's amazing.
Dude, he's ripped. He's in really good shape. Good
for him, yeah.
And then randomly, we also talked about this on the walk over, Anthony Starr, the guy who plays Homelander, is Billy in the like opening shots of this movie, which is like really funny because I was like, I didn't notice him when I was watching the movie. Later, when I checked out the cast, I was like, what? And then I had to go back. I'm like, holy shit, it is him.
Am I wrong here? It's so strange to me when like an actor blows up later in life. Like, was The Boys, that was his big break, right?
From my understanding, yeah. Like, I hadn't seen him in anything else prior to I saw him Without a Paddle, but I didn't realize it.
It's so wild, right? When he's in this in 2004 as like, a random throwaway character. He's the Doug, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if he was in anything else. I didn't really look into his filmography, but he might have been. He probably had part roles in like what we talked about last week in ER or whatever.
Yeah, Zac Efron, TV movies?
Yeah, exactly. And last but not least, we have Bart the Bear the Second, which I think is really interesting.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, it was just a fun little tidbit when I was going through the cast. The Bear is credited as Bart the Bear 2.
Oh, nice.
Which it doesn't say the second, but I can only assume he is the second.
It has to be the second. Yeah,
it just says
obviously.
So
you wouldn't call him 2, right?
No, exactly. Unless like they had 2 Bart the Bears on set, and
they might have
Bart the Bear 1 and
did.
Bart the Bear 2. Yeah,
yeah, like in Big Daddy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's jump into this movie. This movie is about 3 friends who set out on an adventure to find the legendary D.B. Cooper money from his heist back in the 70s and also honor one of their childhood best friends at the same time who tragically passed away. Before we dive in, why don't you tell me your sort of relationship to this movie? What do you remember about it? Like what was it like when you first saw it, I guess?
I saw this in theaters.
Yep.
I remember. This was a Rip Macho family outing.
Okay, yeah.
The parents and my sister, we all saw this in 2004 in theaters at a daytime matinee.
I love that.
Because it's a PG-13 movie, right?
Yeah, PG-13.
So it's what, 2004 you said?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, that makes sense.
This is one of those sneaky like PG-13 movies where it's billed as lighthearted comedy for the whole family, but then when you go see it, it's actually like they put in a bunch of like stoner jokes and stuff
or
like that.
boner jokes.
Boner jokes. Yeah,
jokes.
It's like it becomes super raunchy really quick.
The soundtrack is also the most like Gen X thing ever.
Yeah. Oh, it really is. Yeah. For me, I had like I have memories of this being kind of popular in our circle. Like, is that true? Like, I feel like there was quotes from this movie that we were saying to each other, like about the bear. Like everyone being like, "You can't outrun that bear. Like you're not faster than that bear." Like, I feel like that was like.
It would make sense again because we're 12 and those are jokes that 12-year-olds would make, right? And again, because it's PG-13, you can actually go see this movie in theaters.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's all the like raunchy stuff that is hilarious as a kid, like all the weed, the ripping on Dano, like just as dumb middle schoolers. This is kind of the epitome of comedy to us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump into the opening image of this movie. We start off with a montage. I love montages. In this case, it's no different. Great montage.
Yeah.
I think it does a great job of going through sort of these childhood clips filmed on that camcorder as a great way to set the stage of like, here's like the friendship that we're going to kind of explore about this.
We've talked about this before too. Opening credits over like a montage or something like that. I love it. I love a drawn out opening credits. Bring it back.
Something I was thinking about the other day, this is a side note. I was thinking about the opening credits of The Italian Job. How they're just going over the maps and like diagrams of like heist.
It's
fantastic.
So good, yeah.
Fantastic. I love it. I kind of want
National Treasure, I think, does the same thing. Yeah,
so
like,
good. It's fantastic. So the first 20 minutes of this movie or so, we're kind of spending time reconnecting with the trio that we see in those montages. But first, is there any moments from those montage clips that stood out to you that you liked?
I got a really good laugh of Seth Green riding his bike right into the creek.
Yeah, that was the one that stood out for me as well. Oh, also, we have another young cast as an old cast. What's your take?
I love this.
Did they nail it?
You know me. I was on top of this.
Yeah.
Seth Green, they literally just found a kid with red hair.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
That's it. I thought the kids they got for Lillard and Dax, though, not bad.
Nice.
Not bad.
Nice. That's good. Okay, let's move on. The first 20 minutes of this movie. We come back, we're reconnecting with the trio of friends, seeing where they are now that they're all grown up. We've got Tom, he's the wild one, and of course he's also engaging in adultery. Jerry works some office job, but he longs for the waves, and of course forgets his anniversary. First date or when you become official, what's the one you celebrate?
It was a ridiculous thing to celebrate.
Right? Yeah, because then you get married. Like, do you celebrate all three now?
But here's my thing, okay? Like, yes, it's ridiculous, but if it's something you've mutually agreed upon and have done in the past,
and I think
then that's on you, bro.
100%, because it is usually a mutually agreed thing that you're okay. We're going to celebrate the first date, or we're going to celebrate when we became official. Usually, when you get married, you just celebrate that date.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
I hope so. So you don't have to do all three.
Yeah.
Then we find out what Dan has been up to. He's a doctor now, Dr. Mott. He's pulling into work and has an altercation with an asshole in a pickup. Go figure, right?
Okay, question for you. Is he a doctor? Because the entire movie, I was under the assumption he was a dentist, and I don't know why.
No, he's like a plastic surgeon, I think.
Is he?
I think. Maybe he is a dentist. I don't know why I have plastic surgery.
He shows up Dax later on.
Yeah.
So he's obviously a doctor of some sort.
Has to be.
But
I think as a dentist, you might learn how to do some light stitching. Maybe.
I think so.
Because they have to, like when they take your molars out or whatever, your wisdom teeth, they got to sew that closed.
Yeah, that's how that works,
right?
I don't know. I also like from my experience of going to the dentist, like the dentist doesn't do anything. The hygienist does everything, and the dentist comes in and goes, "You did a good job."
He comes in and checks their work.
Yeah. He comes in and checks their work. Exactly.
It's so stupid. Before we move on, I have to ask though: is Seth Green this little? Like he looks ridiculous in that car, right?
He's so small in this movie, and I think they did him dirty by picking two actors who are obviously like 6'2".
It's not even. It's when he gets next to Lillard and Dax. It's very noticeable. But in this scene, he like pulls up in his car, and he just looks like it looks like they built a bigger car around him.
I did howl though when Pete Hornberger from 30 Rock scares the shit out of him.
Dude, that was the best part. When he comes back,
settles it, right? He settles it like, he bends the sign or whatever, walks away.
Yeah.
And then I'm always a sucker for this. He comes back for one more.
Yeah. But the way he's like, it's so good. I also died when he gets in when Dano gets into the office and he says TGIF.
What was wrong with that?
That's what I love because like at first I was like nerd, but then I was also like, wait, I say that all the time.
You have to say it on Teams so that everybody on your team knows. Oh no, guys, I'm working even though I'm not in the office today.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Okay, let's talk about these opening few minutes when we're introducing the adult versions of the cast. What are your thoughts? Did they capture the sort of blueprint that every sort of friend group has? Are all the archetypes covered? And any other laughs we didn't touch on you want to cover?
Yeah, absolutely, right? Like you have the idiot bad boy.
Yep.
You got the adult who's not ready to be an adult. And then you got the dork / pushover who's afraid of his own shadow.
Yeah.
That's the archetypes there.
Nailed it.
That's it.
Nailed it.
But I also love how it's like we have to show Jerry surfing because later on he saves Seth Green by standing on top of the canoe.
Right. Yeah.
Like a surfboard, right? So it's like, we got.
You know what? I did question that. I was like, how is he able to do it? Because I forgot that he was surfing in the beginning. I'm like, yeah, sure, they fall out of this canoe, but he's able to just stand on top of it, no problem. As if, Jerry.
It's so stupid, though, because it's a comedy. So, like, I would let that happen anyway. You didn't have to insert the, 30-second clip of him, catching the waves.
This 30-second clip of him catching the waves isn't for a payoff later. It's to show that as a character, he hates his job and wants to do something else.
I mean, it was pretty evident he hated his job when they called on him, and he's like, "I'm sorry, what?"
What do you think he did? I don't remember what he did. Was he a marketer of some sort? It seems like marketing.
It's always like marketing.
It's always marketing, right?
Yeah. Sorry, you're in marketing. Have you ever sat around a big boardroom like that?
Oh yeah, plenty of times.
Yeah.
It's usually a waste of everyone's time because
I wasn't sure if that's like a real thing that people actually do or if it's only in TV shows.
no, you do it, and the worst is when you get in there for like 2 hours and everyone's like, okay, everyone knows what everyone's doing. It's like, no, I've been in here for 2 hours. I've been staring at the wall. I haven't listened to a thing you've said. Like, was someone taking notes? I hope someone was taking notes. Like,
That's good stuff.
So clearly, Billy is omitted from this sort of opening sequence where we're reconnecting with the guys, and we learn why when Tom calls Dano and breaks the news. Billy died surfing in Costa Rica, tragically. So the gang head back to their hometown for Billy's funeral. Here they reconnect in the treehouse where they spent most of their time growing up, and they find a time capsule full of their most prized possessions that they all vowed they couldn't get back until they found D.B. Cooper and the money he stole. Turns out Billy had also recently come back and plotted out a whole trip to do just that, to find the D.B. Cooper landing site and find the money. And this is the moment that sort of kicks off the rest of the movie, where Jerry convinces Tom and Dan to do the trip in honor of Billy. Now tell me, how do you feel about this trip idea? After what you've seen of these three so far, do you think they're even remotely qualified to do this without Billy?
No, like absolutely not. I don't even think Billy's qualified to do this.
What are you talking about? There's all those pictures of him like climbing mountains and stuff.
I don't get this at all. There's this fucking guy. He's climbing Mount Everest. He's like running with the bulls. He's fucking also planning DB Cooper. Like, no.
There's always one guy in every friend group that like goes off and like travels the world for a while. And Billy's that guy in this friend group, right? So he's got world experience. Where does he find the time?
He's meeting Bill Clinton. Like, there's this fucking
it's great.
guy.
It's fantastic. I love the concept of a big camping trip to pay tribute to a friend. I think that's super heartwarming and touching. It's also just such a like ripe space for comedy. I find like an outdoor adventure. There's a lake or a river involved. There's camping. Like it's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
So between the funeral and then when they decide to do the trip, is there any laughs you want to touch on?
Well, hang on. First, I want to backpedal for a sec to what you just said. Do you mean you love the idea of camping, like all of us going camping, or you love the idea of it for a movie?
Like both, sure, why not? Like with all the boys going out to pay homage to like one of their fallen friends, like yeah, I love that as an idea. I'm
tell you right now, like if I died, do not go camping in my honor.
I'm gonna tell all the guys, like yeah, Rip really wanted us to go on a big camping trip.
You will. I am confident at this point in my life, I will never go camping again.
I mean that's fair, but I have to ask you though, how much does this line resonate with you? Dan, we're 30. This may be the last chance we have to do something incredibly stupid together.
Yeah, that I love. Okay, yeah. Like that's fun, but like, I go back and forth on this because to me, that's really fun. And if somebody framed it that way, you might get me. But then you mentioned I gotta sleep in the woods. There's
I'm going to show you that.
Bring a fucking tent,
dude. They brought nothing. They brought themselves and a canoe full of beer. So that's how we would get you too. We just show you the canoe full of canoe beers and be like, yeah, we're going. You ready?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
All right. Before moving on, was there anything we missed from the funeral?
Yeah. Tom shows up and he yells, "Is that the corpse of Billy?"
He shows up on his Harley. He goes, "Where'd you guys park?"
Yeah. It's so stupid. And honestly, I'm a little upset that I lauged at it, but it's just,
this is one of those movies that was less like lighter on like big like what would you call it, like big gags, big bits, and more on like funny little lines that were thrown in, because there's another example of it that, again, Tom, when they're talking about the trip and like deciding to go and like they're planning out, oh, we got to get all this stuff, he goes, you know what, listen, I want to get a lot of rope. Just the way he says it's such a throwaway line, but the way he goes, listen, and it's like, okay, cool.
It's charming, right? It's not a knee slapper. It's lighthearted, it's fun, it's fast paced. I'm into it.
Exactly, yeah. So it's great. So we're off to the races, so to speak. The gang have the car packed, or they're ready to go. I want to take a quick side note here. Jerry calls his girlfriend, and basically she kind of makes fun of him for going on this trip. Do you think she is a little out of line after this guy just lost one of his best friends? I think there's a lot to unpack here. Like, I get where she's coming from because he's very absent.
He's very absent
in the relationship. He's already on thin ice. But like, Atlantis is fake as shit. DB Cooper was real. Like this is. I don't think it's apples to apples there.
Do you remember? I'm gonna fucking make myself sound so old here. There was a phase going around the interwebs
The interwebs, yes.
of women asking their partners, how often do you think about
Like the Roman Empire?
the Roman Empire?
Yeah, yeah.
I think you could replace that with DB Cooper.
But for a certain portion of the population, for sure.
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think about him that often, so maybe that's a bad example in that way. But if you mention DB Cooper, I'm like, oh yeah, fuck, you want to talk DB Cooper? Like, let's talk DB Cooper.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's pull up the plans. Like, let's look at it. Let's look at the crash site.
Like, it's I don't know. It's just one of those things I'm so fascinated by. It's like when I was a child and I was super into the Bermuda Triangle, but I had no reason to be.
Where did that go, by the way? Right? Like, when's the last time you heard about the Bermuda Triangle in your adult life?
I don't know, but I'm not gonna lie. I kind of forgot that this is what that movie was about. Like, sorry, not the Bermuda Triangle, DB Cooper. And then when I remembered that, I was like, oh fuck yeah, let's go. I love treasure movies. I love adventure.
It's great.
It's so good. I wish. Why has nobody made another DB Cooper movie since then?
See, someone should, because it's fantastic. I love the idea. Like, for those who don't know, DB Cooper, like, they pulled a heist back in like the 70s and jumped out of a plane over the mountains and then was never seen again. So like, it's just so full of mystery. And like, yeah, like you said, like, why aren't there more movies about trying to find that treasure or what have you?
Right? Like, I feel like all we got was like this movie and then an A&E or History Channel, like,
yeah,
30 for 30.
There's a Netflix documentary about DB Cooper.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I think it's like 8 episodes or something.
Is it any good?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
It was one of those things where I was like, oh fuck, DB Cooper, and I was like, added it to my watch list and then forgot about it.
And then it's still on your watch list.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the start of the trip, we kind of go through like a Rolodex of road trip cliches here. We got the singing in the car. There's sort of that classic stop in a small town that's straight out of the movie Deliverance, where you have a bunch of kids riding this massive hog. Like, where did that pig come from? And then, you get the locals also being like, you don't want to mess with the big river, like giving them those warnings of like, don't go on the river. Were there any like road trip cliches that they missed out on that you wish they kind of included before getting on the river?
The map flying out the window. I feel like that's like the most cliche on a road trip, right?
Right.
I guess it would make less sense in this.
Yeah.
'Cause you got to get going.
You got to get going. And they kind of do that bit later.
Yeah.
But it's the bear.
It's the bear.
Yeah.
The mixtape, obviously.
Yeah,
It's always one like embarrassing song, and there's always one guy who's like, this song's lame. But then like you get into it because it's a banger.
Yeah, exactly. There is also a really funny part here though, where they're launching the canoe, and Jerry wants to christen it, and he just smashes a beer bottle on it, and the guide that they have, this guy, man, I loved him. He's just so straight faced. He just goes, "Thanks for breaking glass where my kids play."
He had the most
Like,
deadpan
fuck.
response.
Like, he's got a point though. Like, that's a douchebag move, Jerry. Okay. The guys launch. They're on the river. We spent some time doing road trip antics. The guys get to their first camping spot, and in classic guy fashion, they've literally only brought beer and no food, aside from Dan's vitamin gel packs that are like weirdly in sandwich baggies. It's like, if it's a vitamin gel pack, shouldn't it be like in like packaging?
I have a bigger gripe with what fucking time is it? Because apparently they're eating dinner, but it's pitch fucking black. So
Right, yeah.
Is it 10 p.m.?
It's all over the place
It doesn't
here.
make any sense. Like, I get you also need it to be dark to do the salmon figure 8 trick.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Okay.
First, I want to ask you, because Dan can't light the fire. Do you think you could light a fire,
No.
Survivor style?
No.
No?
Dude, I would die.
If you had the flint and everything?
No.
Really?
If you gave me one night, like if you gently placed me and set up my camp and everything for me, I would still fucking die. I have no interest in being in the woods.
Fair enough.
I'm out.
So Tom gets the fire started by spitting alcohol onto it, which is really great. I love that.
This is so funny. I will say, I think they really captured, like, to me, this is a more accurate depiction of how guys shoot the shit than what we had earlier with 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, that's fair.
You get a little bit of like heartwarming, like, sometimes you like, you spill your guts a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah.
You do the thing where, if you haven't seen the guys in a while, you kind of touch on like where you are right now in life.
Right.
But you always kind of like beef it up just a little bit because you're also trying to like impress like the guys,
Yeah, you want the guys to think you're doing well.
Right. And they do that with Dax does it with the Harley Davidsons, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's just a bold-faced lie.
Yep. Straight up.
But like the spitting the alcohol at the fire, that's the dynamic you want to capture, right? Because objectively, it's fucking hilarious. but it's also incredibly dangerous.
Yeah,
Like,
there's like a fine line that the boys have to ride when you go on like a cottage trip or whatever, where you want things to be semi-dangerous, like just a little bit reckless.
just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit, just a touch, but
if
then
you
like
had to
very
go to the hospital,
heartwarming as well.
Yeah, if you had to go to the hospital, you hope it's
That's
like
too
a
far.
broken bone and not like somebody got stabbed
Yeah, 100%.
or impaled.
Yeah. You don't.
Or
you should,
drowned.
the goal should be to be reckless but avoid hospital trips.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah. So we kind of mentioned it. Tom kind of claims that he can catch a fish with a flashlight. It's an old was it Cherokee trick he calls it?
I don't know.
And then the guys give him a bunch of shit like, oh yeah, they're using flashlights. Is this real? Do you think you could really catch a fish with a figure 8 strobing pattern?
I don't think I could, but I think
This is like a thing?
I think this is a thing, and again, when the guys get together, there's always one guy who can do something super fucking random like this.
Yeah,
and
yeah, it's
you know
true.
he's got it in his bag of tricks, and he's waiting after the amount of like the appropriate amount of beers.
Right, to
Because
break
like
it
if he
out.
did it when everyone was sober, you're still impressed, but after like 4 drinks, you're like, oh my god, that is the coolest fucking thing I've ever
It
seen.
also, like after the 4 drinks, it gives you more confidence to pull it off.
yeah,
you know, you kind of need that.
that as well. Yeah.
Okay. We've been leading up to this for a little while. Tom's trying to catch fish with a flashlight. Then there's a bear in the room. Let's go. Did you like this sequence? Do you think Bart the Bear was bringing it in his performance?
You can tell this is like a third take for Bart the Bear.
Yeah.
It fucking writes itself. Like Seth Green falls, of fucking course he does, right?
Yep.
It's so funny though, because I can hear, and I don't know if you remember this Family Guy episode, I can hear Chris Griffin scaring away the bear.
Right.
This is probably like season like 2 or 3 maybe. And he just goes, go away, go on, get. Stay tuned for an all new Ally McBeal.
No, that's really good. Yeah, I love Jerry when he's taking off his shoes and Dan's just like, you can't outrun that bear. I don't have to outrun that bear. I just have to outrun you.
Like horrible friend, but also I guess true.
Yeah. Then Seth's like his like whimpers the whole time, like as the bear's kind of carrying him off and whatnot. Like those were really great. Here's where the bit kind of loses me though, because out of all of the like bear related jokes they could have done, I think making Dan eat the rabbit is just gross and like unappealing, and I'm like grossed out by it, and it loses funny to me. Like I'm curious, how did that work for you?
No, I laughed.
You laughed. Okay, interesting. I'm glad you liked it. Okay, so after the boys fall asleep in a chair after running away from the bear, they wake up in the morning to continue their adventure. But it turns out there's some hillbillies near their site fishing with dynamite, which is hilarious. To avoid them, the guys decide to launch on the wrong side of the island, and you know they missed their turn. They missed the fork in the road, which honestly, very clearly, when they launched, you could see that. You could see that fork in the river, like it was right there. Like you guys, you didn't miss that. But this kind of leads them to a whole bunch of rapids. Did you like this part?
It's good, yeah. Again, like it's following like your typical camping cliche, right? Like, of course, you know, they hit the rough. Again, Jerry on top of the canoe,
Yeah,
like he's surfing, but is he like fucking lassoing too?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what he's doing.
He pulls in Seth Green, right?
Yeah, because he's got, he's got all that rope. Remember, he brought a lot of rope.
Yeah.
Well, I also just love that Tom the whole time is like so confident. He's like, yeah, we did this all the time, and he's like, where were you like a whitewater rafting guy? He's like, what's he call it? North California at some like water park. He's like, yeah, no Cal.
What I do love about this scene, though, is that this is one of those things that is so dangerous, but because everybody survives, it just looks fun.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you kind of want to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So you feel the same way,
Yeah.
right?
But it's funny. Like, yeah, they have no life jackets, no nothing. Just out there, raw dog in the fucking river.
And then there's a shot we see of them swimming away once they fall off the waterfall. Holy shit, that thing is huge. There's no way they survive.
Oh my God, that waterfall's like 150 feet. It's crazy. I also just love Tommy when he finally gives in. He's like, I'm in over my head. It's really great. So the guys go over the waterfall, as you said, and after wandering the forest, they sort of stumble upon civilization, they think. But it turns out it's the hillbillies camp. And turns out these guys are weed farmers because obviously.
Of course.
Yeah. The guys try to do some sneaking around and they almost get caught. So they have to go into one of the farms where they discover all of the weed. And then the hillbillies also discover them and just open fire. Just with machine guns, just open fire. Let's talk. Did you enjoy the sequence where there's, the shootout, they're running away, all that sort of stuff? Any funny moments you want to cover?
I actually think it's hilarious. To me, it's the funniest part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we put a pin in this though?
Yeah, sure.
There's a quote that leads up to this scene that I want to get your thoughts on here.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be happy to hear anything that sounds like Creed. Boy, did this age poorly.
For me, this aged poorly, yeah, for sure.
I feel like Creed went from being a joke to the boys ironically liking them, and now just loving One Last Breath.
Yeah,
am
we
I
all
wrong?
love that song.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. It's kind of like the Nickelback effect. Like, there's probably a whole bunch of movies from the early 2000s that just rip on Nickelback, but now everyone loves them. So those bad take.
I'm so curious if this is just a Canadian thing or if this is an American thing or a European thing as well. Please let us know. I have to know. People who aren't Canadian, do you like Creed? Do you like Nickelback? Are we admitting this now? Is this a thing?
Are we comfortable with our music taste?
Are we comfortable now?
As the guys kind of touch on.
Can we all just admit Burn It to the Ground is a banger?
Yeah. What does Jerry say? He's like, yeah, when we were kids, we used to just listen to the music, man. No one judged us.
I love that.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
Right?
I totally agree, Jerry.
Look at this photograph.
All right, back to the hillbillies and the shootout sequence. Talk to me. What did you have here?
Okay, I mean this is the funniest part of the whole movie.
Yeah, it's got to be.
How do you think you'd react to being shot at?
I'd probably piss my pants, man. I don't know. That's crazy.
In the moment, Seth Green, like for being a giant pussy all movie, he's pretty collected.
Yeah, I mean, he also gets thrown through a fucking wall. So he's probably just a bit dazed the entire time.
Like, I think I'd fucking freak out.
Oh, dude, I would be losing my mind. I wouldn't even know what to do.
And then, I'm sorry, like, that's not how weed works. Like, you get high and next thing you know, you're doing the Matrix with bullets coming at you.
But I also love this, though. I love that what Elwood set the flares too close to the like. I just love this as a gag. Like, okay, he's good at the hillbilly's dumb, so he set the flares too close to the
it's
crops.
A good bit.
Burns the crops down. Everyone gets high.
Yeah, the dog's getting high.
The stone dogs is great.
Animals getting high is funny to me.
Really funny stuff. Really funny
in
stuff.
Movies, don't go on YouTube and blow smoke in your turtle's like face.
Yeah, don't actually do that. It's only funny in movies. Yeah. Eventually, the guys kind of escape by using the willow weeds to breathe underwater.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dan has to get a bug that crawls down his, like, because why not, right? And then we get a bit of a moment where all the guys are coming clean to each other and acknowledging some of their faults. Tom's kind of going on and on about this family curse, and Jerry's telling him, like, man, it's not real. And Tom says, sure it is. I'm a great gambler.
I mean, yeah, it probably is. He's just not getting that last leg on his parlay.
Yeah, for sure. Then I think Dan also invents Final Destination with his fear of cellophane in this part. He's talking about how, I think I'm going to fall into it and it's going to get covered over my face and I'm going to trip and it's going to suffocate me. Anything else that you want to cover before we move on?
There's a scene where our two like antagonists are gearing up to go get the guys.
Yeah.
And he picks up a cleaver.
I love the cleaver.
I love the cleaver. And then his buddy's like, he's so genuine with him. Like, look, man, the cleaver's cool, but it's ultimately ineffective.
Yeah. It's really great. I kind of like that they stopped and gave like those two guys like that much attention to detail about like choosing their weapons. It's a pretty funny bit. Okay, moving on. The guys again are stumbling through the woods trying to find out where to go. And they find someone else living in the woods. These two nature-loving girls living in a treehouse built in a massive redwood. They're these activists who are protecting the tree from loggers. Let's talk Earthchild. What did you have in this sequence?
Oh man, I bet you're going to be surprised when I say like this is my biggest gripe with the movie.
Yeah, I can see why. Yeah, I get why.
I can't get behind. I can get behind the rest, but this is just such a like weird, horny turn.
It is. And this is something I'm going to touch on later where there's a bit of like, there's too many threads. There's too many threads being layered on into this movie. And this is one that I think it probably could have done without. Like, I get why it's in the movie because this is every 13-year-old boy's dream.
Yeah.
It's just like girls living in a treehouse with them. Like
sure.
that's why they did it. I think there's some funny here, like Dan's nature name being Condor and like stuff like that. Like,
calling Jerry Slug.
Yeah, Jerry Slug.
That was funny,
like, that's a good one. Obviously, the guys they accidentally give away their position to the hillbillies when they find out the girls have a radio. I think the hillbilly did a really great job, like acting like just a townie.
Yeah,
you know?
He convinced me. Yeah. He had me sold.
One thing I want to ask though is like the antagonists show up, and they just forget that they have guns for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Like, why is he using the chainsaw? Just shoot the gun, bro.
To just shoot them in the tree. They can't go anywhere. Like, this is like the best shot you've had.
I don't know guns either. Like, can you
Can guns shoot up?
Well, yeah, I know from Simpsons the Texan shoots up all the time. But no, what I meant to say is like, is the range good enough to? If
They got
they
machine
just
guns.
go like, yeah, but if
You're
if they
talking
just,
about range. Like, what do you mean? Like,
you mean what do I mean?
it's a redwood. It's like 150 feet high. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
so that's what I'm saying. Like, if they just go into the center and now you no longer have like your
right, the angle.
scope,
I think it's the angle that you're talking about. They're not the range. The
Well,
range is no
too, I
problem.
don't know. Can guns shoot that high?
I don't even know how to answer this question because, like, yeah, guns shoot and the bullet just travels until it hits something, doesn't
You're
it?
talking
Not
to
like
me-
forever, obviously. There's bullet drop and the Coriolis effect if you're a COD player.
I need to clarify because you're talking to me like you know guns. You know guns because you play Call of Duty.
I do. Yeah, that's where my
It's a
knowledge is
game.
coming from. It's also just coming from other movies. I'm just assuming that they probably could have shot up.
Shoot up, idiot.
Yeah. Then the guys use poop bombs, which I think is kind of funny.
This is
really
funny.
gross, but kind of funny.
Poop is like always funny. It's
always gonna be
timeless.
funny. Where does this rank for you in the terms of like we talked about Billy Madison poop, Ricky Stanicky poop, now we got Without a Paddle poop.
It's not very high in
No.
the poop verse for me now.
That's fair. I can agree with that. This all leads to the guys escaping via zip line and stealing an ATV. And then we have this chase throughout the forest where Dan's making speeder bike noises to calm his nerves and stuff, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And we have another massive leap into the river.
Yep.
Which these guys have taken 2 consecutive 100+ foot falls and are fine.
I mean, if you do it once, then like your body's used to it, right?
Yeah, they built up the resistance on the first one.
I was really surprised we didn't get somebody smacked off their ATV by a branch because I feel like that's just
Like,
just the trope in these movies.
yeah, that's just a classic bit. I would have enjoyed that. That's always funny.
Yeah.
But I guess because the 2 other guys, the antagonists, had to share one. Like, you can't just, like, it would be funny if one of them got knocked
Yeah,
off.
if like one ducks and then,
the classic.
Right, there it is.
It's almost like they were setting it up for that
Right.
and then just didn't do it.
It's an hour 36-minute like runtime. You had the time to do it.
Yeah, you could have like cut back on Earthchild a little bit and give me some tree branches slapping people. This brings us to the cave sequence.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the cave. I remember this being really funny as a kid. Everyone was quoting the "not until he puts Jabba back at his hut"
Yeah,
line.
that's the line. Yeah.
Does this sequence hold up to you?
I mean, the homophobia is wild.
It is.
It's fucking
very wild.
wild.
I want to say I would have absolutely zero qualms cuddling with the boys to stay warm if we were stuck in the forest. I would, no problems.
I find it really interesting though, because it's like, so this comes out in 2004, right?
Right.
So you contrast this with like, I don't know, 15 years later, we get This Is the End, where Rogan and Jonah Hill actively seek out Jay to cuddle. Dicks
That's
up.
true. Yeah, they
Dicks
do.
up.
Yeah.
Scarface style, dicks up. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's just funny, like how we went from this to that. I don't know.
No, that's a good comparison there. All right, let's take a short break and then we'll knock out the ending, cover some funniest scenes, do MVC head to head, and jump into our newest segment.
Hey, TFME listeners. You can find us every Wednesday on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you're enjoying the episode, don't forget to hit subscribe and drop us 5 stars. Instagram and Letterboxd links are in the episode's description.
And we're back. So the guys are saved from cave boners by Dell, who is apparently DB Cooper's right-hand guy and played by Burt Reynolds. Basically, he takes the guys from the cave back to his cabin and starts kind of telling them about DB Cooper and where he thinks he landed and all that sort of stuff. And basically, he just says, I couldn't find him. There was a terrible blizzard. No one's going to find him. Is there anything in these moments that you want to cover before you kind of jump into the finale?
The first thing we're going to cover here is this is Burt Reynolds.
This is Burt Reynolds.
What?
It doesn't. It looks nothing like him. And I was aware of Burt Reynolds as a kid. Like I had seen Cannonball Run or Smokey and the Bandit and like
Gator.
Yeah, and the original Longest Yard. Like I had seen all of those movies, so I knew Burt Reynolds. But as a kid, I didn't know this was Burt Reynolds.
Just it doesn't look anything like him.
Like
but it looks
grizzly man.
But it does look like him. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like sitting there, I didn't look at the cast before I watched the movie, and I was like, "That's not Burt Reynolds. There's no way they got Burt Reynolds for this movie."
It is. It does seem like one of those things. Like in 2025, it seems outlandish that they got Burt Reynolds to be in this movie.
Yeah, hindsight, it makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah,
he was on the lot.
He was just next door. Hey Burt, we need a guy to come in to play fucking Grizzly Adams and.
he's already dressed the part.
Yeah,
he's like,
he's
oh,
like,
okay, well, I guess.
All right, so the hillbillies show up and a shootout ensues. They are just laying into this cow, and poor Dell loses his worldly possessions here in this battle. But Dell's also got these badass dual pistols. He comes out of the cow and just gunslinging. I really enjoyed that scene. While all this is happening, the guys slip away and they're running through the forest, and they fall into a cave. And who do they stumble upon? None other than the corpse of DB Cooper.
How did you feel about this part? Like, not having any money left or anything. Like, it's still like, to me, I thought they did it right. Like, I think if the money was there, it wouldn't be as like the payoff just wouldn't be the same, right?
I get what you're saying, because they didn't find them themselves; they stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
So if the money's there when they stumble upon it, it's different, right? Like if they had done the work and like actually followed the map that Billy laid out and found them on their own, and the money was there, it's different, right?
That's a good way of articulating it. I like that.
But I also do love what they do with this, where they show that like DB traded all the money for every last second of life. And it's kind of like the theme of the movie of just like, you should like cherish life, really, all that sort of stuff.
The treasure is the friends they made along the way.
Yes.
Literally, they did the thing.
They say it.
They did the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that the trio are kind of stuck down in this cave, they need a way out. And Dano is the only one that can save them, because he's small enough to crawl through this little crevice to get out. But the only way he can do it is with a little help from his buds when they sing his calming song, Never Meant to Hurt You. What did you think about the guys singing the song?
It's good. Like, yeah. I love a good sing along.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah.
So the antagonists overhear them singing and track down the guys to the hole, and we have our sort of final showdown here with the hillbillies. Dano escapes, so he's able to kind of circle around and face his fears and stand up for himself for once. And he grabs a big old lock and dummies the guys. They fall into the hole. A whole fight ensues. Let's just talk about this fight for a bit. What did you think?
It's really funny that he says, "How do you like me now?" Because in my mind, I still see Seth Green as Seth Green from Entourage. So like, he knocks him into the hole, and all I can hear him saying is, "Tell Sloan I said what's up."
That's pretty funny. I love the fight scene that ensues because it's so comical. Like, Tom and Jerry are like diving around, they're jumping a lot. It's a lot of physical comedy happening at this point.
This is like WWE.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. I have a question for you, Armchair Detective Rip. Did you see this twist coming?
No. The sheriff being involved? No, not at all. Not for a second.
Well, I mean, they didn't do any breadcrumbs to like kind of point you down that path at all.
Of course, though, right?
Yeah, of course. Well,
of course.
There's always someone else involved. Like, you think these two knuckleheads could figure out a weed operation on their own? It doesn't seem like it.
I mean, like,
they're placing the flares too close to the field, for God's sake.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've never grown my own weed.
Yeah, sure you haven't.
I've heard it's quite difficult. But then again, like, this seems right up their alley. So you know what? I don't know. Thank you for giving me some credit for not figuring it out.
No, it's totally fair, because
it
is literally just one of those things where like, yeah, and at the end the sheriff's the bad guy too. You know, it's got very big Scooby-Doo energy in that way. As I said, the sheriff shows up. The fight kind of breaks out. Everyone gets out of the hole, and there's this silver hand grenade that Elwood's been wanting to use the entire time, and the guys finally use it as their sort of like to kill the bad guys, but it doesn't work. But it ends up ironically cutting a tree down to smush the bad guys.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty like funny. Like, you know,
it's like a Family Guy smush.
Yeah. Oh, the way they got smushed under the tree, they just disappeared.
It's a good smush.
Yeah, very good smush. Ultimately, as I said, the guys prevail. They get a weird amount of press for taking down this drug ring.
I thought the same thing.
Like, is this what happens when drug rings get taken out? Like local heroes. Like I don't. It just seemed like a circus. Like,
you know what was missing from this scene? When they do drug busts in movies or TV shows, or even on the news, there's always a really long table with all of the drugs.
Yeah. They should have done that.
I would have loved that.
Well, because you can picture it now. It's a shot of like Jerry, Tom, like holding a bunch of the weed.
Yeah.
And like Dan's like there, probably like rolling his eyes.
You know what the shot is? I'm going to build on yours. They take a picture, and it's just the top part of Seth Green's head.
And it's all bricks of weed.
It's Lillard, Dax.
Yeah, I love that.
All the weed, and then just the red hair.
It's perfect. That's perfect. We should have wrote this movie. Yeah, so in the end, everyone kind of gets their happy ending. Dell ends up giving the guys his share of the DB Cooper money, which they didn't see. Jerry makes up with his girlfriend. Tom decides he's going to get his life together. And, Dano's conquered some fears. Final thoughts on the movie?
They just give him the money?
Yeah, they just give him the money.
Crazy to me. They're like, oh, you know what? I don't really need it.
Dan's a dentist doctor.
I mean,
so he's got money. He's fine.
30 grand in 2004 is enough to change whatever you got going on.
I don't think Dano needs it though. I think Jerry should have taken some money.
Well, yeah,
I think Jerry and Tom should split the money.
If he's gonna have a wedding and shit, don't tell your partner that you just turned down 50
kidding.
grand, man.
Yeah, she's definitely gonna drop you. For me, final thoughts on this movie, I think I was looking back at this with a huge kind of dose of nostalgia when we picked it. I'm not sure it really holds up as a comedy. I think it might be like when we were talking Spaceballs, the bits are funnier to reminisce about talking rather than watching. And I think that's maybe just a symptom of where comedies have come since then. There's a lot more bigger bits, things more more drawn out and stuff like that, and more purposely built to be funny. Where this one is it's kind of this charming adventure about reconnecting underneath, the sort of half-baked storylines with the Earthchild and whatnot. And I think that might be its fault, where there's maybe one too many layers on top of it, where it could have been focusing on comedy rather than focusing on these other storylines.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you a question then. In terms of what you just said, then, you don't really care for it as a comedy. Did you enjoy it as a movie though?
See, that's it. I enjoyed it more as this sort of charming adventure with friends than as a comedy. That's what I think. If you want this to be a good comedy, it's just not enough bits and too many plot lines for me. I think that's
I was just curious if it was you didn't enjoy it as a comedy, or if you just didn't enjoy the movie at all.
No, don't get me wrong. It's got some parts to like. Yep. It's got some charm, and we talked about Matthew Lillard and whatnot off the top, and he's. I wish we got more of him.
He's a
delight. When I look at this movie, I'm like, yeah, he could have done so many other roles than just Shaggy, and I feel like he kind of just became Shaggy.
To me, this is a solid PG-13 feel good movie, in the same kind of way as when I throw on Cheaper by the Dozen with my partner, and I really enjoy that. Nowadays, this is a Netflix original, and honestly, I'm fine with that. This is the kind of movie that I'm looking for when my partner falls asleep at 11 p.m. instead of old dads, right?
Yeah, it's easy watch, right?
It's a solid B movie in my books.
Yeah, no, I could agree with that. Yeah, not the greatest comedy, but solid B watch, Okay, let's do funniest scenes. What did you have?
I mean, the chase scene through the crops.
Yes, that's on mine too.
That's the one, right?
Yeah.
The flares burning the crops to Can't You Hear Me Knocking by the Stones.
Yeah, it's so a great sequence.
Good song choice.
Yeah, there's a lot of good music throughout this one.
Again, arguing over the cleaver, hilarious.
That's a good spot.
The first night camping, I stand by what I said. This is a really accurate depiction, I think, of what guys talk about. You get, maybe your partner doesn't do this, mine does, where, how are the guys? I'm they're good.
Yeah, same thing.
You give each other again, 5 minutes of I started therapy, and everyone's like, oh, that's cool. And then you just move on to oh yeah, so did you guys watch the game last night?
It's that's my partner does the same thing. We're like, how's everyone and I have nothing to say because we have a 5 minute how's life chat.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time is bits, quotes, stupid stories from our childhood.
Pretty much it.
And I'm like, I don't know if you want to sit there and listen to me talk about how me and the guys quoted Superback from front to back.
Right. And then even if it's somebody gives you news, you don't know if they're just telling you to just tell you, or if they want you to ask questions, because there's never follow-up questions.
Yeah.
You just kind of oh, okay, well, that's great.
Are we bad friends? Should we ask more questions?
I don't know. I've always operated under the assumption that if you wanted to tell me something, you would expand.
That's fair.
I feel like that's fair.
Maybe. Yeah. Or maybe we should be pushing each other to open up more. Who knows?
Catching the fish with the flashlight.
Yeah.
This is such a good party trick.
I'm going to try this next time I'm camping. Which probably be never.
Yeah, sorry, when? On the big trip that you guys are all going on when I die?
The river trip.
Yeah. What did you have?
I had, my list is basically the same as yours, but with the addition of the bear and put Jabba back in the hut.
That's a good one. Actually, since we're talking quotes, is this the most embarrassing quote of the movie? I would kill to have a woman at home willing to have sex with me.
Dano. Poor Dano.
Seth Green says this, bro. No.
Yeah. Poor guy. Who would you say the MVC is of this movie?
This is interesting. I think it's Seth Green, but for such little screen time the antagonists have, I feel like they kind of steal the show.
Yeah, that's fair. I didn't have one because it felt like no one was really rising above. You know,
Okay.
I didn't
know we were allowed to do that.
Maybe we're not. But hey, it's our podcast.
You could just pick nobody.
Yeah, maybe we pick the audience. You know, the audience guy. I don't know.
The MVC is the listeners that we made along the way.
Yes, exactly. Maybe it's a cop out to say nobody, but like it just felt like everybody was on even playing field. Everyone kind of had the same amount of like bits and lines and stuff to do. No one was really like a standout to me, and I don't know. It's like one of those hockey games where like no one scores, so you have to give like the first star to somebody.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that guy had 7 hits.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, head to head. These are all movies from 2004. Euro Trip. Do you think Euro Trip is better than Without a Paddle?
Euro Trip has a place in my heart. It's funnier and it's better.
Yeah, I agree. The Girl Next Door.
That's a tough one. Strangely enough, I have seen this one recently. Again, we're talking what's the funnier movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's that one.
Okay, yeah. White Chicks.
White Chicks is funnier.
Yeah, 100%. Shaun of the Dead.
This is one of those contrarian movies for me. I'm not going to answer that one because I have to go back and rewatch it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I would say, from my memory, Shaun of the Dead's funnier. I'm a very big Simon Pegg fan. Like I love him in the Star Trek movies. You know, every time he pops up, I really enjoy him. Starsky and Hutch.
I don't know, man. That movie, dude. I don't know. Is that a good movie?
I don't know.
But the amount of times we quote "do it," like
do it.
It's got Vince Vaughn. It's got Ben Stiller. I think
Owen
it's
Wilson.
and Owen Wilson.
You forgot
Will
the
Ferrell.
big O.
A big Will Ferrell too. I mean, he's Dragon, right?
I haven't seen it in ages, so maybe it's worth like checking out again.
That movie's definitely funnier. Now that I'm talking about it with you, yeah, 100%.
Okay, 50 First Dates. Rom-com action.
That one's a little short on laughs, eh? I'm going to still give it to 50 First Dates.
Yeah, and Meet the Fockers.
This is better than Meet the Fockers.
You think so? Yeah. Okay.
Meet the Parents shouldn't have sequels. I take
fair.
a hard line on that. I'll die on that hill.
Hey, I get that. I agree with that. Okay. To end our episode, we have a new segment to introduce today. This week, we're launching Reruns. In Reruns, we watch and then chat about an old episode of a TV comedy favorite. We'll pull from shows like Seinfeld, The Simpsons, King of Queens, and anything else that lived on Peachtree TV after school. Today, we chose an episode of Family Guy that heavily features Chris Griffin because, he's voiced by Seth Green. This episode is called He's Too Sexy for His Fat, and it's season 2, episode 17. Rip, why don't you kick us off? What's this ep all about? And then we'll dive in.
Okay, so to start, this airs on June 27th, 2000.
That's crazy.
Wild.
It's like nearly 25 years ago.
So after being humiliated, Chris decides he needs to lose weight. Peter offers to help him, but after a brief stint without any progress, he explores lipo. Chris decides that's not for him, so instead we're going to explore the antics of stupid, sexy Peter after he gives it a go.
This is a great episode.
There's a lot of funny here. Like
I wrote down that before we even get the intro, there's 3 to 5 cutaway gags.
I have that too. Yeah, and you know what? They all hit.
They're all great.
They all bang. But going in, it's so funny because I went through a Family Guy phase, probably within the last year or two, where I started watching the newer episodes I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
So going into this one, I'm thinking, I bet there's less cutaway gags because I feel like that's all what the show is nowadays.
Yeah.
No.
There might be more.
There might be more.
Stewie cuts away to like when he was like hosting like a party or a dream or something like that, and he's like, Jimmy Kahn, make yourself at home, and he just punches a woman. Just terrible.
Horrible.
Terrible. Then they're at the grocery store, and a person mistakes Chris for some hams.
Yeah. He mistakes him for a shoplifter. And he goes,
Come on, give me those hams.
He lifts his shirt. He goes, I need an adult. I need an adult.
Also, this reminded me, I haven't seen Family Guy in ages.
Yeah.
But it reminded me, I love the sound effect of Stewie's feet for some reason. It's
really
like
good.
really funny because the way he's like the pitter patter of his when he's running. I don't know why. I just enjoy it.
We throw around this gif all the time of it's better to not fit in. And it's Peter Griffin as the clown with the army guys, and he's like, they're going to be looking for army guys.
I had that written down. I was like, holy shit, this is the Army Guys episode. We quote that thing constantly.
When I picked this episode, I'm not going to lie, I had no idea that this was in there, but I'm so happy it is.
This is also a good episode for like one of the bits where they kind of go off on a tangent, and it's the exterminators.
Yeah.
Like, cause it's so like the structure of a Family Guy episode is so interesting because it like kind of sets up the plot line and then spends a lot of time on B story first before ever getting to it. Because like the whole Brian needing like a flea collar at the grocery store and then fleas being like, that's like just 5 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, all the episodes are like that.
It's
the
amazing.
structure is so weird.
Okay, we kind of touched on it briefly, but the exterminators, like that whole sequence is great.
It's so good. And then what is the guy shows up after? You'd be like that too if you watched your wife and kids be carried away by an army of fire ants.
5 million fire ants. I love that they snuck in a very short police procedural in the middle of this episode. But yeah, the exterminators have guns and they go to the house and just shoot up the place. And then the one exterminator has PTSD and he doesn't go on the call. But obviously he comes back and saves the day because that's what the guy does, right? That's what happens in every police show.
Yeah.
There's also the cutaway to like Old Yeller, and they're like, because it's like different because like I think Brian didn't answer the phone sometimes, or like talk about Old Yeller and like, oh come on, he'll call back.
Yeah.
So they can just go shoot the dog because he didn't take a message. It's so dark.
Again, like we picked this episode because it's Chris Griffin, right?
Yeah.
All of the Chris Griffin gags are so funny.
Oh
like,
yeah.
All the ones about him being fat, like the two hams under his shirt.
Sir, you can't park your minivan on our diving board.
Yeah. And then there's also what the hell? He gained weight and it's Stewie underneath his gut. Okay, give me your reaction to seeing skinny Peter, because like I audibly laughed out loud.
It's so jarring that I also laughed out loud. Like it's so like he just looks wrong. Like it looks like an inflatable tube man came to life.
Yeah. I think what's so jarring is like his fucking testicle chin. Like it doesn't look right when he's skinny.
Yeah. He just looks like one long neck.
Yeah.
I forgot the part where Peter licks his own nipple to gross people out.
No, I'm not being embarrassing. You want me to do something embarrassing? Yeah.
So another funny part about this episode that ties into our like the movie we just covered, Chris gets carried away by a bear. At one part.
The salmon.
Yeah, the salmon. Chris just gets carried away by a bear. There's a lot of great funny stuff in this. There's one really funny line that, and I can't remember what part it comes up, but it's from Brian. And I think he's alone, and like Peter comes into the house, or Peter leaves, and he's like, "You know what? I like Hillary Clinton. I don't care what anyone says."
Yeah, I heard that too. This is so funny. To end off this episode, Peter Griffin gets in a car accident, right?
Right. Yeah.
Flies off a cliff, smashes into an airplane because it's the largest cliff ever.
Yep.
And then he lands in a lard factory, and this is how he goes back to looking just like himself.
Oh, it's so good.
Does this remind you of anything?
I'm sure it will once you tell me.
So The Simpsons do this exact joke 4 months prior when Moe gets plastic surgery.
Right, yeah.
His face gets flattened by a set piece, and he just goes back to looking the exact same.
My face isn't supposed to bear any weight or something. Like there's some like
I'm not supposed to get like weight on it or something. Yeah,
something stupid.
So I guess Simpsons did it.
It's funny because when Peter all the lard happens. They're at the hospital and the doctor's unveiling him, taking off the bandages. And it's a potato head.
Yeah.
And everyone gasps. He's like, oh, and now I'll just take off this protective potato head mask. I think that was a great episode of Family Guy. I'm glad we checked that out.
I'm excited to do reruns. This was a good idea, Chaps.
Yeah. We'll keep this going. We'll throw it in every once in a while. We'll always choose a new episode from one of our favorite comedies from back in the day.
And if you have any suggestions, let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Would love to hear those. All right, Rip, why don't you tell everyone what we're watching next week?
Next week, we're pulling from the good, the bad, and the dadly.
You love it.
We're doing National Lampoon's Vacation.
Thanks for listening. You can find us every Wednesday on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Letterboxd. The links are in the show notes.